Hey guys, Craved here, and well, I'm gonna keep saying this for each one of these spotlights. You guys wanted it, and you're gonna get it. So, let's get into talking about Superman: The Darkseid. This elseworld basically asks the question of, would a Superman land on Apokolips? But we find out not of his own choice, or not even of Jor-El's own intention. This one, it's definitely not going to be Superman Batman generations long, but this one's going to be longer, I think, than Golden Age. Because, well, I can better sum things up. And while each detail counts, it's not a big, huge political thriller to try and figure it out that you got to read on your own. This one, I can do much easier. We open up with, well, the destruction of Krypton. But look at the talking pattern of the people of Krypton. Jor-El and Lara. A lot more robotic and stilted, more so than even John Byrne's version. That's saying a lot. That actually is a key point that will come on, but basically, Kal-El is sent to Earth, but then some device stops him and sends him to Apokolips, where he's in crash lands in Armageddon, and is discovered by a elderly couple known as Jono and Martha. Jonathan and Martha. And I love how it's a bit subversion. Finds out he has super strength, and then when Martha's saying like, oh, we can get maybe our prayers have been answered. We can get so much money from Granny Goodness. They're fried. And Darkseid has little Kal-El. And it turns out it was Metron that brought Kal-El to Earth. We then cut to New Genesis, where Orion is complaining about the bugs. And Highfather's trying to keep him in line, basically trying to continue on with the original agreement that Highfather will raise Orion and Scott Free is meanwhile on Apokolips, where he's been trying to escape. And we're also introduced to Big Barda running into him, but at first you seem to think there's a little bit of a flirting, but it goes nowhere in this version, unfortunately. But yeah, Darkseid, he knows what he's doing. He's planning all of this. The rebellion in Scott Free, so that he'll want to escape. Because the moment he escapes, the peace treaty between Apokolips and New Genesis is over. And he can leave. And then Darkseid can start war again on New Genesis. Although in this case, because of his secret weapon, Kal-El, he'll be able to, do it with much more relative ease. Because he knows exactly what he's going to do. And Kal-El, much like the third Superman Batman arc, where Superman and Batman were raised by the Legion of Supervillains, or at least 3 of them. Much like in that one, in this one, Superman is raised to be, well, he believes in Darkseid's will. He has no semblance of a consciousness, it seems, and he's basically all like, by your will, Darkseid, and that he thinks he's not Darkseid's son. He doesn't think that, but he does think his Darkseid's will be done. And he originally wants to get into some action. And what does Darkseid do? Puts him into a fight against his own son, Kalibak. Now, those of you, first of all, Superman has a grand entrance coming out of one of the fire pits as his armor, which enhances his strength actually, by absorbing the heat, actually helps out, him out. And then, if any of you've seen the animated series or any versions, Kalibak does not stand a chance, and Superman kills him. Yeah. And everyone's cheering, and that's what causes Scott Free to realize he is still in a boom tuber, that he realizes, I gotta get out of here. But as he's leaving, Superman catches up with him and breaks his legs by throwing him into a wall. But Scott's able to get out of there just in time still, and with him gone, New Genesis is fair game, as Darkseid's readying for Kal-El to take a giant bomb full of Omega energies to New Genesis and blow it up. And, well, that's exactly what happens. Kal-El goes to Earth, plows right through Orion as he takes the bomb without even thinking much about it, leaves the bomb there, sets it off, and boom, New Genesis is starting to fall apart. But he obviously, and Kal-El also knows Darkseid's going to want Highfather as well. And Highfather, after Orion and Light Ray go up to him, he sends everyone to Earth. Right in time as Kal-El shows up. only for the Source and Highfather to start revealing the truths to Kal-El about his upbringing. And Kal-El even says, I don't know why I believe you, but I do. Showing that there is that hint of good in him. As then Highfather, with his last bit of energy and with the Source's aid, sends Kal-El to Earth, where he strips himself of his armor because he would have drowned otherwise, and he's saved by Lois Lane. And Darkseid is ready to, feels like Kal-El's demise is unfortunate, but not nothing to worry about. Now he's ready to conquer Earth and wipe out the rest of the New Gods, ending the first issue. And then, basically, Lois meets up with, is talking with Kal-El, who's being very weird talking in her mind. She has no idea what he's saying, and I love the artwork by Kieron Dwyer. I mean, look at Lois here. Doesn't she look great? And basically, she thinks like, I got more important things to do. Takes off, and then she starts following up with, well, if the new guys involved and they're in Metropolis, who else? Inner Gang. As Carl Mannheim, who took it over from his father, Bruno Mannheim, is there. Lois is taking photos, gets caught, but then Kal-El comes in and helps her. Even taking a bullet for her. Even though it causes him to bleed, it doesn't kill him. And then the SCU, the Special Crimes Unit, show up. Although in this version, it's Turpin that's in charge and Maggie that's the second in command, as opposed to the other way around. Interesting. No idea why that is, but then Kal-El causes a bit of a ruckus with Dan. As, hold on a second. Sorry about that. Had to clear up some space on my phone before it died out on me. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. He starts causing a bit of a ruckus with Dan Turpin, which gets him arrested. And then he, at the same time, the new guys are on Earth. They're already starting to cause their own little ruckus, which gives Kal-El a chance to get out of there. And as he does, Light Ray basically is flying around, which causes Superman to be like, no, I killed you. And he starts freaking out. And then, Bibbo! I love Bibbo. Those of you who don't know, Bibbo's the owner of the Ace of Clubs bar. And sometimes a drunk, sometimes not. He was voiced by Brad Garrett in the animated series. And he's just a lovable guy. Superman's his favorite. And he's just, if you read Superman in the 80s and 90s, you love Bibbo. You know who he is, and you love him every time he appears. And Jimmy, he's actually a little kid in this one. And yeah, Bibbo's able to walk right up to him, and using his time from war and knowing what something similar, is able to calm Kal-El down, and he decides to help out. Then at the same time, Darkseid has Metron come up to him, and we find out Metron kept something secret from the Kryptonian ship that he knew about, and Metron tries to get away. Darkseid disables the ship and kills Metron right then and there for keeping what ended up being the Kryptonians knew the secret of the anti-life equation. Yeah, think about that. Meanwhile, Lois, we're introduced to Lex Luthor, who is a scumbag. He's complete and utter, but he's kind of inconsequential in this story for the most part. But here, like, he's basically no one to stop him, so he's just doing his usual business dealings. Shows off, oh yeah, we're aware of aliens. Meanwhile, Superman, he's getting something to eat when a fire bursts out. He goes inside and finds out a bunch of he and Bibbo go in, save people, and turns out a bunch of parademons. As Superman then gets one of the Fastback, one of the new gods, and gets his mother box. Ping, 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 and all that. Eventually, they're out, and Lois catches up with him and starts asking, like, what's the lowdown, mister? As he tries to explain things to him and to her. Then we eventually meet up with Big Barda as she takes out the Forever people who were causing some interference with Superman, ready to attack. Then Orion shows up and it leads to a scuffle. But now I want to say, like, they don't fully bring it up, but as Orion gets angrier, his true son of Darkseidness comes through. But as he's ready to blast Superman, the mother box protects him and forms into a version of the S. You can even see it make out in it. Why am I closing up when you're seeing the images in front of you? But yeah, you know what? Actually, maybe I won't have to this time. I think you guys can see the artwork on this pretty clearly compared to usual. Don't know if it's the lighting, if I have just the right spot, the right angle, but yeah, you guys see what I'm talking about? But anyway, it starts to convince Kal-El a bit more. His consciousness is more and more coming through to him. And eventually, most of the new gods leave, except for Barda and Lois. And Barda tries to talk sense into him, but Lois then tells him, don't listen to her. Seriously, the artwork on this one is just so good. Then we find out that Lex had gotten a hold of Kal-El's armor as they're talking it over, and we're introduced to Scott again. Turns out when he came to Earth, he landed right into a brick wall, further disabling him and more. And he's ready to help get Superman. So he and Lex are ready to gather him up. While Superman tries to go and get his armor back. But they're met up with some of Lex's forces who end up having a boom tube. Barda got into a scuffle elsewhere. But yeah, he's tossed into a big cell that eventually covers him in amber. As Scott Free feels like, finally, we got him. But then, Darkseid appears. Lex tries to make a deal with him, but, yep, he gets, transported with the Omega Beams to Granny Goodness's lair. Perfect. And then Darkseid makes an offer to Scott Free and gives him Metron's Mobius chair, thinking he'll make good use of it and just want to leave. Then, Superman and Kal-El is being tortured by Darkseid. Of course he is. As Darkseid reveals the message that has been translated. Turns out, yeah, the Kryptonians are still conquerors in this universe. And that Jor-El, cold as he is, encoded the anti-life equation into Kal-El's DNA so he could subjugate Earth, which he never did. And then Superman even says, I defy you and my father. But then Darkseid gets the whole of the code, the anti-life equation, and we end issue 3 as sure enough, on Earth, he starts to take control of everything. And why Earth? Well, as Darkseid said earlier, your father intended the spacecraft that saved you from Krypton's destruction to land on Earth. He saw the humans as I do, as building blocks for an empire. So yeah, there is a reason for why they're sticking to Earth. And basically, kind of like Final Crisis, almost everyone's under the anti-life equation sway. And Bruno Mannheim tries to say, hey, we got a deal. He's dead. Big shocker there. Decides ready to take care of Superman, and Kal-El, kill him off. But Superman and Kal-El gets his way out of there and gets a hold of his mother box. As we see Bibbo trying to get a hold of Jimmy, but he's almost captured till Lois helps him. Turns out Bibbo had a metal plate in his in his head, which blocked out the signal, and Lois was given a mother box. And Light Ray ends up helping him out. They meet up with Orion, as Scott Free shows up now as the new Metron, and basically reveals the lineage, he was the son of Highfather and Orion the son of Darkseid. They swapped people, they were traded at birth to be raised. And Orion is pissed off as he takes off to find himself. Then, when he's trying to escape, we see Granny has enslaved Lex. Serves him right. But Superman and Clark's able to take care, and Kal-El, is able to take care of Granny, gets rid of her, and Barda shows up and tries to talk a bit more sense, but also reveals she's not his enemy, because she realizes now he has the anti-life equation, we're going to be obsolete. But she's still trying to talk him out of it. She then decides, if you're really planning on going to a suicide mission, how about I give you something to come back if you survive? And kisses him and gives him her cape as he flies off. And meanwhile, Scott goes with the Mobius chair to the source wall to find out information. Then Kal-El shows up. They're readying the charge. They actually go in for a big fight. This is it, the final showdown. All the new gods with whatever left of humanity, including Lois, go in. And Kal-El confronts Darkseid, but then decides he's going to take out the transmitter. Darkseid zaps him, but it's Superman. Of course, he takes the hit. But then Orion shows up with the bugs, who he was giving a hard time earlier. takes them all out. Takes them out, has them join in to help as it's starting to turn the tide. Then a little bit of an Diabolus Ex Machina. Darkseid happens to have an anti-mother box that destroys them all. It does more harm to Orion and takes him right out of the board. But Superman just destroys the symbol on his chest as he continues to fight against Darkseid, but he's losing badly. Because remember, Darkseid's still a god. But then Scott-Free returns, now blinded and his hair all white from the source wall. But he reveals how Superman, like Light Ray, it's solar powered. So what does Light Ray do? Give some of his energy to Superman, causing him to get up. But then Dr. Bedlam, who can jump into other people's bodies, mortally wounds Light Ray. But Scott-Free's able to capture him. Sadly, he wasn't able to detect it in time. But then Light Ray, with his last bit of energy, supercharges Superman Kal-El. As Kal-El then stomps right up the Darkseid. Darkseid's constantly blasting at him, but it does no good. And then finally, he just one-hit KOs Darkseid. Yeah, like that. But then, what do you do with Darkseid out? And what do they decide to do? They send him back to the source wall. Now that his defenses are all down, they send him away as they hope to be purified. Yeah, they get rid of Darkseid like that. Then Scott-Free leaves, and humanity's starting to accept all of the new gods on the new gods on Earth. As since they don't have a home, they're now coexisting on Earth. Meanwhile, apparently Lois and Orion have gotten together, as Orion's becoming more like the new Highfather. And meanwhile, Superman and Kal-El, now wearing a more like Orion's outduds of his outfit, flies through and starts demolishing all the remnants of Darkseid, as he and Barda have gotten together. Yeah, I can understand that. And he decides, I'm not going to be I'm dismantling his war machines. I don't plan on becoming a dictator and take over for him. As basically, they walk off and decide they're going to start to reseed New Genesis on Apokolips. So, that's Superman Darkseid, and it's a pretty drastic change, but here's a little thing you might not have know of. And I don't recall if it was intentional or not, but the final episodes of Superman the Anime Series, I think was based off of this. It had to have been. The notion of Superman and coming in armor, in this case Brainwash to think he was the son of Darkseid, and he leads an invading force on Earth. There's parallels with this. But in this case, this was one of those elseworlds where they had to make a bit more drastic changes than just the simple concept like, oh, the Kryptonians knew the anti-life equation. So, and by doing that, they also make it more cold-hearted. I get it. But at the same time, it felt like the one shoehorn, but it eventually led to a good finale, and the idea that, Darkseid, by having Kal-El on his side, he would come up with a different plan that he did in the original universe, and New Genesis destruction was pretty much guaranteed when you have Superman on your side, and then all the stuff on Earth and Superman having more of the consciousness and all that, showing that there's always that good in him, and especially when you have help from Highfather and the Source involved, makes a lot of sense as well. And then just the way everything played out, it made sense when you really think about it. And like I said, Kieron Dwyer's artwork is great, and John Francis Moore also did a great job. Now, 1 second. The two of them had worked earlier on another Elseworld called Elseworld's Finest, where basically it was more of a pulp version of the Heroes, where they basically eventually, they end up, it's a pulp adventure, as you can clearly see. It involves more a bit Aztecian and all that, and this was the first time he and Kieron Dwyer worked together, and eventually it led into this. Now, I'll eventually put this on the poll, not right now, but eventually. And again, just everything in this, once you add in the stuff like the Kryptonians knowing the anti-life equation, once you have that, like I said, everything just flows very naturally. It's like once you have the idea and you had it all set up properly, this was the white natural way for things to usually play out. All the characters felt in character. No one really felt out of character. And yeah, what else can I say? But this is a really good story. Now, tomorrow I'll be getting to Superman Speeding Bullets. That one's going to be way quicker because it's only a one shot as opposed to like a three-parter and all of that. But yeah, that one is still very interesting. But unfortunately, it being a one shot also kind of causes issues with it. But I'm going to be talking quite a bit about that one as well. But this one, as I said with an Elseworld, this one was, just fulfilled what it needed to do and did everything very, very well. So, that's it. Not much else to say. Catch you all tomorrow. Take care.